You know, from the second your alarm clock goes off in the morning, there's a voice in your head, right? It's kind of like the narrator of your own personal movie, commenting on everything. So today, we're going to get to know that inner voice, and more importantly, we're going to learn how to turn it from your biggest critic into your #1 fan.
So just for a second, really think about that. When you make a mistake, what's the first thing that voice says? Is it a supportive coach that's like, hey, no big deal, let's try that again? Or is it something a lot harsher? The answer to that question, well, it has a massive impact on pretty much everything in your life.
So here's our game plan. First, we're going to figure out what this inner voice even is. Then, we'll dive into the downside of all that negative self-talk. After that, the good stuff, how to actually change the narrative. We'll look at all the benefits of positivity, and we'll wrap up with the most important part, realizing that this whole conversation, it's your choice.
All right, first up, what exactly is this inner voice? Let's put a name to this conversation that we're pretty much always having with ourselves.
The official term for it is self-talk. It's that constant stream of unspoken thoughts just running through your mind, all day, every day. And this isn't just something a few of us do. For most people, it's a totally fundamental part of being human. It's how we make sense of our world, second by second.
And you know, this voice isn't just random noise. It's actually got some pretty big jobs to do. It's how you process what happens to you. It's how you weigh your options to make a decision, and it's how you get curious and ask questions. You can think of it like your own personal operating system.
But what happens when that operating system is, well, full of bugs? Let's talk about the inner critic, that negative side of self-talk that can seriously hold you back.
So this is the really crucial part, understanding the difference. On one side, you've got this super critical, pessimistic voice that just zooms in on everything that's going wrong. And on the other, you have a supportive, optimistic one. That's basically your personal cheerleader. It really is a tale of two totally different narrators living in your head.
Ah, a classic. I'm sure this one sounds familiar to a lot of you. What's so damaging about this thought is that it's a statement of defeat. It's not just an expression of doubt. You're literally putting up a roadblock for yourself before you've even put the car in drive.
And then it often escalates to this. See the shift there? We've gone from doubting our ability to do a specific task to making a huge judgment about who we are as a person. This right here is where our confidence really starts to take a nosedive.
And here we are, at the bottom of that negative spiral. When these thoughts keep stacking up, this is where you can end up. It creates this feeling of hopelessness that feels completely real. And that's the tricky part, right? It can feel so true, even when it's absolutely not. And you can just see how this all snowballs. This isn't just about having a bad moment. This constant negative chatter chips away at your confidence, it puts a ceiling on what you think you can achieve, and it can literally wire your brain to expect failure. It becomes the fuel for stress, anxiety, and that never-ending, impossible chase for perfection. Okay, so that's the problem, but here's the really good news. You are not stuck with that inner critic. So let's get into the practical stuff, how to actually change the narrative and take back control of the conversation.
So here's a simple 5-step game plan. It all starts with just being aware. You just have to notice the negative thought when it pops up. Then you challenge it. Ask yourself, hang on, is that thought really 100% true? Sometimes just writing the thought down takes away its power. Also, watch what you're consuming. Negative media can add fuel to the fire. And finally, the most powerful step, replace it. Actively swap that negative thought for one that's a little more balanced or even positive. But listen, this is super important. This is a skill, not an on-off switch. It's just like training a muscle at the gym. It's going to feel a little awkward, maybe even silly at first. But I promise, if you stick with it, it'll get easier and eventually become second nature.
So why go through all this trouble? What's in it for you? Let's talk about the payoff, because there are some incredible benefits you unlock when you start speaking to yourself with a bit more kindness.
And look, the payoff is huge. We're talking about better self-esteem, a real boost to your overall well-being, and even a reduction in symptoms of things like anxiety and depression. It's not just about thinking happy thoughts. It's about feeling more in control of your life. It can even help you manage physical pain better, and most importantly, it clears the path so you can actually go out and achieve your goals.
And you can start building this positivity muscle right now. Make it a habit to actually think good things about yourself. Take a minute to identify what you're good at. And here's a big one for a lot of us, learn to actually accept a compliment. Also, take a look at who you spend time with. Surround yourself with people who lift you up. Every little bit helps.
All right, this brings us to what I think is the most empowering idea of all, this internal conversation.
It isn't something that just happens to you. It's a conversation where you and only you get to write the script.
So, at the end of the day, it all boils down to this one simple question. That voice in your head can be your biggest obstacle or your most powerful supporter. You're the one holding the microphone. So, what will you choose to tell yourself today?